friends, it's Jules. Welcome to Jules Reads. This is going to be my July reading wrap up of the books I read in July and books I hauled. I do have 5 books that I hauled, and then the movies and TV that I watched in July. I have 12 things to talk about there. I'll talk about those pretty quickly because I do wrap up most of those in my weekly wrap-ups. I have 7 books that I read in July, which is actually quite a bit for me. Usually I'm around the 4-ish range, but 2 of them are pretty short. Maybe just 1 is really short. Anyway, let's get started. I'm gonna kind of go from my least favorite to my most favorite, but it was a really good reading month for me. I don't think I had any 5 stars, but a lot of 4s and 4.5s. 4.5s. All right, the first one I'm going to talk about is Heartwood by Amity Grace. And this is about a woman who gets lost in the Appalachian Mountains, Appalachian Trail. It's told from 3 different perspectives, and it is definitely about kind of mother-daughter bonds. It's told from the woman who gets lost. Her name is Valerie. I think she's in her 40s, and she's a former nurse. And then the detective that's trying to find her. And then there's a 3rd perspective that's introduced, which is kind of where the book lost me, and I wasn't really engaged as much anymore. And that is from a woman in like a nursing home who's like this, like is a sleuth. But I did like it. It's just, I didn't love it. I think I gave it 3.5 on Goodreads. And this is a Read with Jenna book. It is a signed edition that I got at the Strand bookstore in New York City. So if you like, there's a little bit of mystery, a little bit of thriller-ish, but not a lot. It is just really from these 3 different women's perspectives of finding this woman. And yeah, I think a lot of people actually really did love it. So check it out. The next book I'm going to talk about is actually, I did it just on audio. I'm doing all of the Cork O'Connor series by William Kent Krueger on audio. At one point, a lot of them were free on Audible. The last one I just finished this month was Thunder Bay. I don't remember anything about it. I think this is the one where his friend asks Cork to go find his estranged son. Yeah. Clearly not memorable. I love William Kent Krueger's writing. I think I'm just getting the Cork O'Connor series really jumbled in my head as to what's happening with Cork, but I liked it. That's all I'm going to say about it. Okay, let's move on. The next book is Brooklyn by Colm Tóibín, and I did really like this. I gave it 4 stars. I did also watch the movie, so I have a vlog on my channel and where I read this book and watch the movie. And I read some other books that have the word Brooklyn in them. I did like this. This is about a woman in the 1950s. She immigrates from Ireland to Brooklyn. And it's really about homesickness and the journey getting to America. And it's about romance. There's a love interest that's introduced. His name is Tony. He's an Italian American and he is fantastic. Love him. Love his little brother, both in the book and the movie. He is so funny. And the movie I liked more, which is really odd for me, but I did like the movie more. It just tugged at my heartstrings a little bit more, probably because you're seeing the actors and actresses portray these characters and bring them to life, and it just really moved me. I loved the movie. So I really recommend this book though as well. And the next book that I did really like this one as well. It's The Lovely Bones by Alice Sebold. Next one I read in July. This is about a girl, 14 years old, who does get murdered. And you know that in the first chapter, you know that on the back of the book, so it's not a mystery. And it is really about her, it's about her version of heaven and what that looks like, but also her looking down on her family, watching them grieve, watching her mom just really spiral and ultimately collapse, and then her dad really struggling and missing her, and then her sister being part of the investigation and really digging into what happened to her. It is really about grief and healing. I really enjoyed this. I thought it was really well written. I do really like the movie as well with Stanley Tucci. He plays the Predator. I do really like the movie, but I gave this 4 stars as well. I had a great reading month. All right, let's move on to the next one, and that is The Service Berry by Robin Wall Kimmerer. This is a gorgeous little book, and there's illustrations in here, and it's just gorgeous. If you read Braiding Sweetgrass, I recommend getting this. This is an extension of one of her chapters in that book, and it is really about the reciprocity in the world and the gift giving, and not necessarily gifts as in a cake, but gifts as in nature, like what we can do for the nature, and what it can give back to us. And it's just, I love her writing. Her book was my favorite of last year, and it's one of my all-time favorites ever, The Braiding Sweetgrass is. I have it behind me somewhere. All right. The next book I read in July and loved is The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. And this is about Dorian Gray, and it's a kind of a hard book to describe, but he remains physically youthful while this portrait of him takes on all the things that he's doing. He is not a moral person, and so it's taking on those stresses of not being moral. And then the painting just becomes really grotesque. I wouldn't say the majority of the book is about that. The majority of the book is just about Dorian Gray and that kind of society. It is really exploring themes of morality, vanity, and beauty even. I love the writing. I started off by physically reading it and doing the audio, and I was highlighting and annotating. There's a lot of amazing sentences in this by Oscar Wilde, and ended up finishing it on audio. But I did really enjoy this. I think I gave it 4.5, if not 5 stars. Really great. The next book and final book I finished in July and was my favorite of July is A Tree Grows in Brooklyn by Betty Smith. And this is a coming-of-age novel set in the early 20th century, and it is about Francie. We follow Francie and her mom and her alcoholic father and her brother living in poverty in Brooklyn. They did immigrate, and then it's just about the struggles that they go through. It is really a slice of life book, and my only complaint about it is that it's too long. I know I gave it 5 stars on Goodreads as my rating, but in the comments I put 4.5 stars. I think I would have given it 5 if it wasn't so long, but this was written in the early 1900s as well. But it is really just about the power of dreams and resilience and the small joys. And I loved it. It is very, very well written. Loved it. All right, let's jump into the books that I hauled this month. I have 5 to talk about, one of which is The Lovely Bones, which I already showed you. The next one I got is Edith Wharton's Ethan Frome. And this is a short little book. It's less than 100 pages. It's 99 pages. A coworker said this is her favorite, one of her favorite short stories. I don't know anything about it. Ethan Frome works his unproductive farm and struggles to maintain a bearable existence with his difficult, suspicious, and hypochondriac wife, Zena. But when Zena's vivacious cousin enters their household as a hired girl, Ethan finds himself obsessed with her and the possibilities for happiness she comes to represent. In one of American fiction's finest and most intense narratives, Edith Wharton moves this ill-starred trio toward their tragic destinies. Different in both tone and theme from Wharton's other works, Ethan Frome has become perhaps her most enduring and most widely read book. I've never read Edith Wharton before, so that is good. The next book I got is a collection of short stories, but the one I was most interested in reading is The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. I don't know anything about it. I heard it's kind of creepy, which is why I want to read it. And then this one, I've heard a lot about this author, Robbie Arnett, and this is The Rain Heron. I think he's an Australian author. And then it just says, Wren lives alone on the remote frontier of a country devastated by a coup d'etat. High on the forested slopes, she survives by hunting, farming, trading, and forgetting the contours of what was once a normal life. But her quiet stability is disrupted by an army unit led by a young female soldier comes through the mountains on government orders in search of a legendary creature called the rain heron, a mythical, dangerous, form-shifting bird with ability to change the weather. Oh, that is different than what I thought. That sounds great. And the next book I got is called Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is our book club, in real life book club pick for August. I'm already about a third of the way through and really loving it. It's an easy read, quick read. I'm not sure I'm as thrilled about it as so many people are. It has really high ratings. Everyone is loving this book, but I am enjoying it. It's great so far. This is about women astronauts in the 1980s. And so that is really fun to see women in a man's world back in the 80s. And I am enjoying it. But I will let you know more in one of my weekly wrap-ups. I'll probably finish it this weekend. But that is that. Let's get started with the movies and TV. I'm going to go through these pretty quickly and not even really explain too much about them just because I have talked about them on my weekly wrap-ups. But I watched Untamed with Eric Bana, Dexter Resurrection, 50 States, 50 Days, the Ryan Trahan YouTube series. I rewatched Castle Rock season 1. I watched Sunshine, The Assessment. Loved that movie. Shetland. I'm just kind of watching episodes here and there. In Time, Ghost World, F1, Memories of Murder, and then Brooklyn. All right, that is my July wrap up. What did you guys watch? What was your favorite thing you watched in July? And what's the favorite thing you read in July? I would love to hear. Thanks for watching. Bye.